Heat checking, we look at where Miami basketball stacks up before the new NBA season.
Coverage at the Hard Rock over the Hurricanes' first conference game of the season.
And the Kelsey Swift duel continues to make headlines across the nation and South Florida. All of this and more on the Sideline.
Hello South Florida and welcome to the Sideline, the place where you get all the highlights for your South Florida teams. I'm Kenneth Bueno.
I'm Zeth Leon, and the Sideline starts now.
It has been a hectic offseason for the Miami Heat, and despite the questions that float around the team, the former Eastern Conference champions are running it back once again.
Sideline's Anthony Cruz gives us a preseason perspective from outside the Kaseya Center.
After another summer of missing out on potential star acquisitions, the name of the game for Miami continues to be internal improvement from newer guys on the team and non-established ones. Following a week of training camp in Boca Raton, they are set to tip off tomorrow night against the Charlotte Hornets for their first preseason game. However, before that, they will hold their annual red, white, and pink game tonight in the Kaseya Center.
It was a tumultuous summer in South Beach. Players and management, however, are going to the season with a priority on continuity and moving forward with business as usual. Jimmy Butler assured fans that the team would, quote, somehow, some way, end up in the finals again. And Tyler Hero made it clear that he has a chip on his shoulder going into the season. Questions regarding his playoff injury and constant inclusion in offseason trade rumors were inevitable, but he still managed to highlight his confidence and overall optimism for the year. This infectious energy throughout the locker room starts from the top. Head coach Eric Spoelstra said that how things unfold in the Eastern Conference remain to be seen, but he feels assurance in the fact that his squad is, quote, one of those teams who will be in the race. I was outside of the Kaseya Center on Monday to get a closer look at the action.
Question on Heat fans' minds today is who will be the starters for next season? The loss of both Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, as well as their hole in the power forward position, will now have to be filled up by unproven talent on the roster. Hopefully training camp this following week will provide a good indicator as to who those pieces are.
If you had any doubts about the young guys coming to play, they are ready to silence those beliefs. Coach Spo claimed this week during training camp that this iteration of the team is deeper than last year's, and the vets have only had good things to say about the young guys as they continue mentoring them for the season. Jimmy said that Nikola Jovic is conducting himself like a 6 to 7 year veteran on and off the court, and that Jaime Jaquez Jr. fits in with the team's winning culture.
From all accounts, it seems as if this year's training camp was a success. In classic Pat Riley fashion, the rotation still isn't set in stone and will probably be subject to change all year long. However, some important reports to know before tonight are that Kyle Lowry apparently will be starting tomorrow night, and that Caleb Martin is currently a game-time decision. For the Control Center, I'm Anthony Cruz for Caplin News.
Well, the Dolphins couldn't manage to snag a win in New York when they played the Buffalo Bills last Sunday. Miami came back home and took the New York Giants down in Week 5. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa struggled throwing 2 interceptions, but still threw for 308 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devon Achane once again stole headlines for Miami, taking 11 carries for 151 yards and a touchdown as the Dolphins went on to win 31-16 and move to 4-1. Miami remains at home next week as they host the 0-5 Carolina Panthers next Sunday.
The 4-0 Miami Hurricanes have looked at top form recently, and they opened up ACC play over the weekend at home. Our very own Esteban Rodriguez was on the field prior to Miami's first conference matchup versus Georgia Tech.
We're here in Hard Rock Stadium where the Miami Hurricanes are looking to extend their win streak as they get into their first conference game going up against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. As the game kicks off, the two high-powered offensive teams made this a defensive match with punts, pushbacks, and interceptions for both teams. It wasn't until the final seconds of the first half where the Hurricanes got the first points on the board with a field goal. UM followed that with a 22-yard pass to the end zone for the Canes' first touchdown. The two teams battled it out, exchanging the lead throughout the second half, and with a second touchdown and field goal for the lead up until the final 2 minutes of the game, the Canes looked like they were going to win it, right? All they have to do is take a knee.
They should have taken a timeout right there at the end. Thought he could get the first down, and we talked about 2 hands on the ball, but that's not good enough. Just told him to take a knee, and that's it. Fumbled the ball at 25, and they went 75 yards in 2 plays, so no excuse.
The Canes run the ball, they fumble, and the Yellow Jackets capitalize, scoring with 1 second left of the game, leaving the Canes with a devastating loss at home.
Yeah, I mean, right now it really sucks. It really does, you know, so can't dwell on it. You got to move on. You know, there's still 7 games left in the season. Still a lot in front of us. We can't just dwell on this one loss and say our season's over. We've got a lot of games left, have to learn from it, have to move on from it, and play better football.
The Miami Hurricanes' next game will be against UNC next week, Saturday, October 14th. For Caplin News, I'm Esteban Rodriguez.
Over at Drive Pink Stadium, the atmosphere was rather somber Saturday after Inter Miami extended their winless streak to 5 after falling to the #1 seed Cincinnati FC and getting eliminated from playoff contention. The Herons looked strong early, including a rocket right to the crossbar in the 8th minute. And despite Cincinnati's counter-strikes, Inter Miami found the bar 3 times in the first 21 minutes to no success. Finally, the ice breaks, but it's for Cincinnati. Alvaro Barreal would be a bouncer right to the back of the net, gives Cincinnati the lead, and they would never look back. They grab the win 1-0, and Inter Miami gets eliminated from the playoffs. With that, we've got our very own Alfredo Banegas for more on what's going on with Inter Miami. Welcome, Alfredo. First of all, I have to ask you, why did the team not make the playoffs this year? Why didn't they make that push, and what did Messi's absence have a role in that?
I think people in general forgot the team that Messi and Tata Martino and the other 2 former Barcelona players inherited because of the fun Leagues Cup run and the 2 months without having lost a game. This team was bottom of the Eastern Conference for a reason. You know, without Messi, obviously his presence is going to demand a lot from other teams. They call him the GOAT for a reason. This team just simply wasn't good enough, and it wasn't built to the style that Tata Martino wants to play, which is why I think they struggled without Messi.
They've got a lot of young players, and with Messi coming back, for sure next season, where does the team go from here? How do they finalize the rest of this season and then move forward to 2024?
Well, I think for this season, we've already had more success for Inter Miami than we've ever seen before. You know, like I said, winning the Leagues Cup, making the U.S. Open Cup final, those are successes that Inter Miami couldn't ever have seen without Messi. They're going to look to bring in some vets. There's rumors of Luis Suarez joining the team, of Luka Modric, of formerly of Real Madrid, hopefully if he could join the team. And then just continuing to improve off the development of the young players. I think those veterans coming into the team, people are going to see that as hindering the young players. I see that as the young players having the best vets you can possibly have in the game to learn from. So Absolutely. It's all about building off of this great second half of the season in this year and hopefully going into next year and challenging for the MLS Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Missing the playoffs is not the result the team was hoping for, but they'll look to bounce back next year with a full season of Messi and finish the season on top as winners. Speaking of winners, let's jump into our next segment. Alfredo, you kick it off. Tell us your biggest winner and loser in sports this week.
So for our winner this week, I actually wanted to go across the pond into the English Premier League and talk about Chelsea FC. It's been a long time since they were able to get one win in the English Premier League. They're coming off back-to-back wins, having scored 6 goals in 2 wins, and things are starting to look up. In the last couple of games under Mauricio Pochettino, I know this is similar to Inter Miami. They have a lot of young players. They're trying to force a lot of change in a short amount of time. But for now, things are finally looking up. It's been a long time since things have looked up.
What about your L?
So for my L, I want to give a special shout out to Dak Prescott fantasy owners. Dak Prescott this week threw for 153 yards on 14 completions, 3 interceptions in a 32-point loss, was it, to the 49ers? Dak Prescott put up 4 fantasy points this weekend. That's 4 more than I put up this weekend, 4 more than any of us on this desk put up. So I have to give this unfortunate L to his owners in fantasy.
Yeah, not a good day for Dak. How about you, Kevin?
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it's a good day for Dak or Cowboys fans at all. But I'm going to take it to the racetrack from the pitch and the field. AJ Allmendinger got the win at the Charlotte Roval yesterday for the NASCAR Cup Series playoff race, and it's been over 2 years since he's been able to grab a win in the series, and he was all teared up, so emotional after the victory. See him crossing the start-finish line, and the emotions. I mean, he's one of the more emotional drivers when he goes out and wins. You don't see that often in the field these days, but for the driver of the 16, I mean, he was absolutely electric. He said, quote, "You don't know when it's ever going to happen again." So it just shows you how big of a moment it was for him and how big of an impact. For my L, though, Zeth, I'm going to have to apologize. The University of Miami Hurricanes, how do you not take a knee on that final play? 42 seconds left. You're basically winding down the game. The game is all but iced. You're leading the outing, and you don't take a knee. You go for the run, you fumble the football, and all of a sudden you give Georgia Tech a 44-yard touchdown with 1 second left to win the game. I don't understand how, as the Hurricanes, you don't take the knee in that play. That's my biggest sell.
Yeah, you were talking about the racer. Winning is not so common. It's not either for the Bears. The Bears don't win very often. That's going to be my biggest W. They got their first win since last year, October of last year. First win. They snapped a 14-game losing streak on prime time, against the Commanders, who did not look great. Justin Fields throws 8 touchdown passes. Good for the Bears. I'm happy for them. They still stink. It's only their first win of the season, but they got to win. Good for them. I'm happy for them. They're my biggest W of the week. Biggest L, though, the Patriots are back on the clock. One of our hosts picked the Patriots last week. I got to pick them again. You would think that it can't get any worse, but it did. They 34-0 loss at home, shutout. Mac Jones, let me read some stats for you guys. He has a total of 260 total yards in the last 2 games. He's thrown 0 touchdowns in the last 2 games. He's thrown 4 picks, 2 of those pick sixes in the last 2 games, and he's been benched in both those games. They missed the only field goal attempt on Sunday against the Saints, which would have stopped the goose egg, but that didn't happen. Back-to-back Bill Belichick's 2 worst games ever, and he's never had a donut with a starting quarterback before. This first time ever. First time for everything. The Patriots are making history, this time on the wrong side.
We don't mind it one bit here in South Florida.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah. And also for Bill Belichick, such a dominant coach, to lose those games in that way, to have the season unravel in the way it has, it's really tough for New England.
Yeah, it's not looking great. Let's move on to what we got next on the sideline.
I would love to see, more good relationships in the celebrity status, of course.
We got people's thoughts on the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift mania, and we give our game picks for the upcoming week of sports. We'll take a timeout and be back in a moment.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
The Marlins season may have ended on a downer as they fell to the Phillies in 2 lopsided games. However, there's still a lot to look forward to with the Fish. They made their first playoff run in a full season since before half the staff here was born, on the back of a promising young core. 2-time batting champion Luis Arraez is only 26 years old, and fan favorite center fielder Jazz Chisholm Jr. is just 25, and both project to make a big impact on the team if they stay next year. Though it is unfortunate that 2022 Cy Young winner Sandy Alcantara is set to be out for the season. The talent on the mound looks promising with Jesus Luzardo, Yuri Perez, and Braxton Garrett at the helm. We here at the Sideline were happy to get wild with the Fish this season and look forward to them riding this momentum into another winning year in 2024.
FIU football is set to host UTEP for a Vice night in a primetime Wednesday night showdown. The Panthers look to get their 4th win against the 1-5 Miners from the cage in a nationally televised ESPN2 tilt. The Panthers will wear its Vice-themed uniforms to pay tribute to the 1980s TV drama and the cultural impact it had on the city of Miami. Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN2.
Nothing is better than a brewing love story, combining the world of music and sports. Sideline's Tanya Jimenez and Nicolette Esper take to FIU's main campus to ask students what they think about this.
For anyone following the NFL script, I don't think a pop culture icon would have been a character in it.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce dating was definitely not on our bingo card this season. So now we're at FIU's main campus to ask students what they think about this love story.
I think they would be a cute couple. You know, like, I would love to see, you know, like more good relationships in like the celebrity status, of course.
Travis had invited Taylor to watch him rock the stage at Arrowhead Stadium after he attended her show during her Eras tour.
2 weekends ago, I went to see the Miami Dolphins. It was like, apparently it was the best season game ever because it was like the highest scoring. I missed 3 of the 4 quarters. And then I saw Taylor went to the game and I was like, I need to get another ticket. Maybe there's more to it than what.
Maybe I'll start watching football. Who knows? For the Swifties, you know, I'll start listening to Swift some more, watching more football.
I love it. I think it's super cute, and I've always loved Taylor Swift, so yeah, I'm all for it.
With Kelce being an 8-time NFL Pro Bowler and T. Swift being a 12-time Grammy winner, both fan bases think the one they root for is helping the other rise to fame. We got to hear the differences in opinion.
Yo, that's crazy. I resent that question because Travis Kelce is a successful man in his own right, and he should be recognized for his own talents and not the fact that he is dating a pop star.
Well, I love Taylor. I've never heard of Kelce before he started dating Taylor. I 100% believe it's PR, like a bromance, because he's getting so much publicity. His jerseys are going up like 300% in sales. And I mean, Taylor wants to stay in the news. Her tour is continuing. She has her movie coming up. Like, she wants to stay in the news. She wants to stay, like, everyone having her name on their lips. And I think it's 100% PR.
Well, it looks like Travis Kelce has been caught. Hopefully this will be our happily ever after for T. Swift. From the Sideline, I'm Nicolette Esper.
And I'm Tani Jimenez.
It's time to get into our game pick segment here on the Sideline, and we'll start with our upcoming week of sports death. We'll begin on the ice. The Florida Panthers finally get their season started in about a week or so. They play the Minnesota Wild on October 12th, 8 p.m., and that'll be actually in Minnesota, the XL Energy Center. And the Panthers are coming off a really strong season, Zeth. They went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Minnesota, on the other hand, they were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs to the Dallas Stars. So who do you think has the win in this season opening matchup?
Yeah, no one was expecting the Panthers to make it, you know, as far as they did, and I think they're proven that they could be a good team. So I'm gonna take them in this game, beating Minnesota. How about you?
Well, definitely, I think the Panthers definitely got it. I mean, considering the season they had last time around, I mean, Minnesota was a really strong team. They were one of the best in the Western Conference. So it's not like you can't write them off completely, but with the Panthers' momentum, how good they've been playing, even over the preseason too. I mean, you think of how many games they've had where it's gone in their favor. They've played really well. They've got a really strong core. Obviously, the main core is coming back, so we're sure to see them put up a lot of good stuff in that opening game versus the Minnesota Wild. And if they're able to go 1-0, I mean, who knows what that could lead for the Gatos. We'll get to the final game, and we'll go to pro football now. Actually, Miami Dolphins, the National Football League, 4-1, also like the Hurricanes, but they're going to play a North Carolina team that's not doing so good. The Carolina Panthers are 0-5. Bryce Young has been playing for a while. Things have been a little struggling for the rookie. Play October 15th, 1 p.m. here at Hard Rock. Did the Dolphins continue a winning streak?
The Dolphins actually play this game at home, unlike the Hurricanes that have to travel. Yes, I'm going to take the Dolphins. This is a pretty obvious choice. The Dolphins have been looking great, and the Panthers not so much, as you said. You know, they've been struggling with the rookie quarterback, Bryce Young. I'm going to take the Dolphins to win here, and probably by a lot too.
Yeah, they've definitely been playing good, and I know that the Dolphins did fall to the Bills a couple of weeks ago, but that was a big rebound win versus the Giants, so you have to assume that against a team that is probably one of the worst objectively in the NFL right now, they're going through a lot of things collectively with the rookie quarterback and everything going on. The Dolphins definitely have the favoritism in that game, and they should be able to take in. They'll go 5-1. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'm Kenneth Bueno.
And I'm Zeth Leon. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week on the Sideline.